Hello and welcome to the Season 17 finale of The Box Score. I'm your host, Noah Berkowitz. Max Lasky couldn't return tonight after running away with Cody Rhodes to become a full-time member of the WWE, so I'll be your man tonight. We've got a jam-packed episode with lots to get to, including some mock draft mania, a look at some of the top performers during March Madness, who the face of the NBA will be post-LeBron, and an opportunity for some of your favorite experts to walk back a hot take or two. So, without further ado, give me that intro. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and no, I am not talking about Christmas. It's NFL draft season, and while the draft is always incredibly volatile, this year is shaping up to be especially wild. I'm joined by the incredible Evan Sharrard, Maira, and Nandan Nair to help me mock the top 10 picks for this year's draft. Evan, the Chicago Bears are on the clock.
And the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams.
Whoa!
Humongous shock.
No
yes.
way. Why you say that?
Well, I say that because not only is he great in the pocket, he's great out of the pocket. He's great with the ball in his hands past the line of scrimmage. Means he can't pass. He extends plays with a certain calmity that not many other college quarterbacks have. Caleb Williams.
That's a new word.
The big knock? No, comedy's not a new word.
Comedy's a genre of film.
Calmity.
No, that was a good one. But regardless, he is an incredible improviser.
Yes, he is, yes. And I'd say, like, when your only knock is that sometimes you don't take the best throw and you end up taking the big throw, if you don't hit on those, that reminds me a lot of Josh Allen. Now, while he's not as big as Josh Allen, that's something that's really coachable. And I really do think, and I've said it in a past episode, that Caleb Williams has potential to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time based on what he's been given naturally as an athlete and as a processor already in college.
And you're not worried about those turnovers. Again, you talked
No.
about those big throws.
Yeah, the big throws, that's coachable. And with Caleb Williams, I think that he will be receptive to that coaching. People end up saying that he has character issues, but I just don't really see that far in.
I agree, but we're going to have to move on to pick number 2. Nandan, who do you have going second overall?
I have with the second overall pick. Wow, words. The Commanders are going to take Jaden Daniels. I know there's been a lot of debate between him and Drake May, but honestly, I think Jaden Daniels makes the most sense. He is so composed. Even with his thin frame, he's very tough and composed in the pocket. He moves like a veteran. His arm strength and his accuracy is ridiculous. I mean, this season alone, he threw for almost 4,000 yards at 70% completion.
Which is ridiculous.
Ridiculous already, but then I'll make it better. 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
That's a great ratio.
Over 1,000 yards on the ground.
And on the ground, he is an incredible dual threat.
Yes. Now, are you not worried about maybe potentially some of the big hits he takes? I mean, obviously, when you're drafting a franchise quarterback, you don't, like Anthony Richardson we saw this past season, you don't want them to be out for the whole year.
That's true. But honestly, I'm really not too worried at all about that. I think with the amount of time he has plenty of time to put on the weight. And I also think that he'll have an offensive coordinator with him that knows how to get the best out of him. Obviously, with the Commanders, Cliff Kingsbury, he loves working with dual threat quarterbacks. We've seen that with Kyler Murray and with Caleb Williams. Wow. Speak of the devil. And so I think that already makes a really great combo. He also, Washington have added a pretty solid O-line. They've added some adjustments this year. And so I think he has the protection he needs. And so, no, I'm really not worried. I think he's going to be a great fit for them.
All right, well, I'm going to hope for Commanders fans' sake that they end up hitting. I think it'd be nice to see Washington be good again. However, we're not talking about Washington anymore, Kyler. We're talking about the 3rd pick overall.
Yeah, the New England Patriots who, did you hear that?
Whoa.
Cut the line.
Cut the line.
New York Giants are calling.
No.
No, I want to let
God,
you know.
no.
I want to let you know. My parents are watching this. They're going to be very happy, potentially, of your pick.
No.
Mr. and Mrs. Berkowitz, the New York Giants select quarterback Drake May.
They will be very happy with that selection.
Look, he is, just like Jaden Daniels, a quarterback with a 90-plus PFF grade, except he's been 2 years instead of Jaden Daniels just 1 year. He's not as mobile as Jaden Daniels, but he can sling that rock, and he can do it to players who are on UNC, which doesn't mean that they're great players.
Nothing against UNC,
I mean,
but
that's
everything
Wow.
against UNC.
But, I mean, they're not as good as LSU.
Yes.
The Giants have to give up on Daniel Jones. They have to give up on Tommy DeVito. And they made splashes on defense. They're showing that they're not just giving up. They offensively aren't talented, but defensively have brought in players.
Like Brian Burns from Carolina.
Brian Burns, huge contract deal.
Yes.
They got to win now if they're going to do that sort of thing. And Drake May is a quarterback they need to do that with, which is why they should move up.
So people worry about Drake May throwing outside the numbers because he's so good at throwing down the field. I'm personally not worried about it. It seems like you're not worried about it either.
not concerned.
You're not concerned? All right, well, at the fourth pick, who are you going to take?
Unfortunately, the Patriots didn't do this because they just traded down with the Giants. Why?
Why?
They are going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. It's a smart
Arizona
thing.
Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals are going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes, sorry, that was confusing.
Yes.
The Giants are not on the clock. They just drafted. They just took Drake May. Yeah, it's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. He's the best receiver in the class. Some like the explosiveness that you get with Malik Neighbors. I like the best overall prospect. You've got a 6'4" body frame, incredible ability to trace the ball in the air, and his body control while he's in the air is
And you have a very interesting player comp to him.
Devontae Adams, who's 2 inches shorter. And the fact that you can be Devontae Adams and add 2 inches, you're getting into scary territory where we start talking about people like Calvin Johnson. And he has the long speed.
Goodness.
He has the long speed that Calvin Johnson had, but doesn't have that explosive burst that Malik Neighbors has, that Calvin Johnson had as well. We want to talk about a guy with a great release off the line. That is definitely Marvin Harrison Jr. That guy is incredible on the first step. He's going to beat you right away, and I think that that's going to be huge against bigger physical corners who are like, all right, this guy's 6'4". Well, I'm 6'2", and I've been in the league for a while. He's going to knock him down. No, Marvin Harrison Jr. is still going to make those plays at the next.
And I love the way Marvin Harrison Jr. just skies up for some of those balls and then
Yes.
continues to extend the play into the end zone eventually. But we're going to talk about another wide receiver here, Nandan. Who do you have him taken?
And Evan, you already did a great job leading this up to me, and I talked a lot about him last week. I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels, wide receiver 1, Malik Neighbors to go to the Chargers with the 5th pick.
And I'm going to have to press you on this. There's a lot of team needs for the Los Angeles Chargers at offensive line and really everywhere on the field. Who does Justin Herbert have to play with him?
Well, that's exactly the point I'm going to make, is that I think you need to take Malik Neighbors with this pick because this offseason they've already gotten rid of they've pretty much gutted their entire
No
receiver.
Keenan Allen and no Mike
Keenan-
Williams.
And no Mike Williams. They've also gotten rid of Austin Eckler in the backfield. And so they are in desperate need of at least some kind of wide receiver 1 or someone that Justin Herbert can throw to. And I think Malik Neighbors fits that profile. He's explosive, as we've said. He's a yards after catch machine. You give him the ball, you put it in his hands. After that, he explodes. He's the LSU's all-time yards leader over guys like Odell Beckham, over guys like Justin Jefferson, over guys like Jamar Chase. That is great company to be in.
Yeah.
And so, honestly, even as a slot receiver, he honestly is that great guy. And so I think even if you just have Malik Neighbors, he's going to get the job done somewhat. And Justin Herbert and Malik Neighbors, I mean, come on, that's Hollywood.
I mean,
I've seen it.
they just tried to get Quentin Johnson last year in the first round, and look how that worked out. Do you think they'll be scared at all to pick another wide receiver early in the draft?
I don't think they will be, simply because I think at this point there's not a lot to lose in this situation. There is so much they have in needs, but honestly, like we've said, this wide receiver class, Malik Neighbors is right up there with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes.
And so I think they have to go big and, see from there, build around.
See, I am a little bit of a skeptic here just because there are so many team needs, and John Harbaugh loves a good running game. They could go Joe Alt here.
They could
It'd
go
be a
Joe
great
Alt.
pick, but we're not talking Joe Alt just yet. We're going to go to Kyler. Who do you have taken at number 6? It's the Patriots on the clock.
Patriots are on the clock, but oh my gosh.
Do I hear another phone call?
way.
Oh my goodness. Not
Ghost
twice.
of Belichick is here.
Ring. It's the Minnesota Vikings calling to move up and select J.J. McCarthy.
So the final big quarterback falls off the board.
Exactly, and it's a player who just last week I said shouldn't go this early, but he will. And that's the thing. He might be a bust, but he will go this early. And his stock has really risen high. He's a national champion. He's been maybe a little bit like Zach Wilson in the
Don't remind me.
in the pro days and the combine. He has risen so high that the Minnesota Vikings are going to be worried with Sam Darnold as the starting quarterback. And Justin Jefferson has such a talented wide receiver that they're going to want a good quarterback. So they're going to move up, and the Patriots will move to 11 before the Broncos, who need a quarterback as well. And in classic Patriots way, they prefer 4 medium talented players over 1 very talented player. Look, I don't know how well it'll work out, but that is the Patriots way. Maybe it's a new era with Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, but I was about to say, though, I mean, there are a lot of needs on that offense, whether it's offensive line, whether it's wide receiver, whether it's quarterback. I mean, they traded Mac Jones this offseason. You're going to say that they don't take J.J. McCarthy?
I don't think so. I think that they need an offensive line, they need wide receivers, they need a quarterback. You can't get that all in 1 pick. You can get that all in 4 picks.
You're right. Well, it means we're going to circle back after the 6th pick. You're going to go with that offensive lineman we were just talking about.
It's Joe Alt. He's by far, to me, the best offensive line prospect out of all positions on that line.
Yeah.
He is a great player in the run, especially in these zone schemes that Tennessee likes to run. He rated out one of the top on PFF. He has above 90 PFF grade in pass blocking, and that is really high. 90's high on a test.
Yeah.
It's definitely high on PFF as well.
Yeah, and PFF, notorious sticklers.
Yes, they are. And Joe Alt played at Notre Dame, which is notorious for, well, not notorious.
It's O-line university.
It's O-line university, absolutely. And he's a glue guy. And not because he's always in the lineup. Well, he will be as long as he doesn't get injured. But whoever's in front of him is not moving.
Yeah.
He's
a big boy.
Yeah, he's big. He is actually quite agile. He's a smart player. He really does read those blocks well. And what he does really well is pulling across the line. He's able to find his immediate assignment right away and make some really good blocks. Joe Alt is the most polished prospect at the offensive line position. They need to protect Will Levis, get somebody that's ready right now, and that is Joe Alt.
And you're not worried about Joe Alt going potentially earlier in the draft?
I am.
All right, and you think that they could go with a guy like Olu Fashanu or Talise Fuanga?
And I actually, yes, I think that Tennessee goes offensive line no matter what.
No matter what.
Because they do need to build around that. They do have the offense. They have the offensive weapons in the backfield to actually be a good football team offensively. And they need offensive line to help that out with Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
They're back there now.
And Tajay Spears.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very high on
Big
Tajay
Spears guy.
I am.
Spears.
But enough about Tajay Spears and the Tennessee Titans. Who do you have going at number 8?
Yep, I have the Atlanta Falcons. There's no trades happening here, in my opinion. And they're going to take Dallas Turner, edge rusher, right out of Bama.
I like
Very, very
I
good.
I honestly love this guy. He is a beast. He is probably the best athlete in this edge class this year. He's really quick and agile off his line, really quick to collapse in on those weaker O-lines and get to the QBs. He has a couple moves in his locker. He's really mastered, in particular, that ghost rush that Von Miller perfected. That's actually my player comp for him, is I see a lot of shades of Von Miller in Dallas Turner.
Which is very high praise for a future Hall of Famer.
It is. And so I think the Falcons go with Dallas Turner because I think it just makes sense overall. The Falcons have made a lot of moves in free agency offensively. Obviously, notably, they've signed Kirk Cousins. However, that defense needs work, especially in the last 3 seasons. They have placed outside the top 25 in pass rushing. So they are going to need a lot of help out there. And so honestly, I think that Dallas Turner provides that edge for them. And as we've said, defense wins championships. And so if we think the Falcons are going to be the contender that we think they are, they're going to have to bolster up that defense. And I think this is where that comes in. I think he comes in here.
I think it's really interesting. I do, because obviously there's so many smoke screens around draft time, and whether this is a smoke screen or not, but you could see the Atlanta Falcons go with a guy like Jared Verse, who's probably more explosive off the line, probably the most explosive edge prospect in this draft. But Jared Verse out of Florida State, who, by the way, would have loved to see him play in the college football playoff. But regardless, at number 9, who are they going to go with? Who is going at number 9?
So it's the Chicago Bears on the clock. But wait, No, you don't hear anything. The Bears are actually going to take the pick. They are going to select Byron Murphy from Texas.
So over Tershawn Newton.
Over Tershawn Newton, because Byron Murphy is leading the FBS defensive tackles in pass rushing grade, in pass rush win rate, and in pressure rate. The 3 most important stats if you're a interior defensive lineman. Now, let me tell you something, and let me give you 2 names on the Chicago Bears. Andrew Billing and Gerwin Dexter.
I know he knows him.
Andrew
Billings.
There you go.
Well, obviously Evan knows
What
him.
does he Evan
I know
know?
nobody else in the room did.
Exactly. Billings with a pluralized last name, but not a pluralized amount of sacks in the sack column.
That's good.
He had 0, and of course, Dexter Sr. had just 2.5. That is not enough. This is a good fit for the Chicago Bears, Evan's team, and it's a player that will really just slide right in, immediate day 1 starter, immediate household name in Chicago, who have a good defense, have now the offensive pieces. The Chicago Bears, if they make this selection, they can be a playoff caliber team for sure.
Playoff caliber team is one.
Caliber.
So you don't think that if Dallas Turner goes off the board that it could be Jared versus here? That you don't think they go edge?
I don't think so. And just because of their lack of talent in the middle.
In the interior.
In the middle. And it starts in the middle. The outside guys, they're fun, they're fast, but the middle guys, that's what really shures a team together.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
Playing in front of Edmonds as well, I think he's a great pick.
Well, that means we get to number 10, which I will be picking for my New York Jets. We're going to go with a special talent here. Obviously, they shored up the offensive line. They could still go with a little bit of insurance behind there, but they could still go wide receiver. Roma Dunze still on the board, but I'm not going to take either of those guys. We're going Brock Bowers out of Georgia.
Wow,
Arguably,
tight end.
arguably the best tight end prospect out of the draft since Kyle Pitts. Arguably a better tight end prospect than Kyle Pitts was. I mean, and that's saying something. Kyle Pitts out of Florida was an incredibly
Holy
touted prospect.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
didn't know what position he was going to play.
no, and Brock Bowers is honestly the same way. He could play slot receiver. He could play tight end. He honestly could play offensive line with how efficiently he blocks and then chips off of those blocks. I mean, Brock Bowers is an elite threat and would be an elite threat for Aaron Rodgers, a four-time MVP, former Super Bowl champion. That's a guy you want throwing the ball. Brock Bowers, I think, would be an electric pick for this Jets offense, and they'd have multiple tight end sets there with Tyler Conklin. Yeah, but regardless, thank you all so much for your insight. I am so excited to see what happens. Personally, I would like to see the Jets trade up for Marvin Harrison Jr. That would be very fun. Team up back with Garrett Wilson. But regardless, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back to you, we're going to get to hear about some incredible March Madness performances. Stick around.
I am gonna kill Bill.
What? Oh! Okay, cutting. Sorry, can we get some of this?
Where in God's name is the gaffer's tape? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nate.
And I'm Casey, and we're the National Broadcasting Society.
Come out to some of our weekly workshops, or work on some of our sets.
Explore the bigger picture with NBS.
We'll see you there.
All right, let's get another take. Camera, sound.
So yeah, it's like Emerson's very own late night talk show. We've got games like Jimmy Fallon, and we're hot like Jimmy Kimmel, and we've got guests. I'm gonna talk to them. You can talk too, I guess. There's a live studio audience, and they're just gonna laugh at everything we say, and it's gonna be awesome. It's just this never-ending cycle of positivity and community and late night content. I'm gonna wear a suit. You should probably wear one too. What do you think?
I think you should drink up, because it's closing time.
All right, coming back in 10 seconds. Ready, camera one. Camera one, get a wide shot of the entire thing, and in 3, 2, 1, take. Talent cue.
Welcome back to Emerson College. Emerson
Camera
trails
4, get a shot of the players coming across the court.
10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point. As
Camera
the
2,
team
close up on the
finishes
person
their
shooting.
timeout. Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away and score this game.
Camera 1, get a close up, follow them over.
Emerson trails WPI 10 points. 10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point as the team finishes their timeout.
Camera 1, close up on number 33.
Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away.
Follow the ball, follow the ball.
Hello and welcome back to the box score. Now, this March was indeed mad, and for a specific few players, that madness could have helped their stock rise. We're going to take a look at some of the best performers in the men's and women's brackets to see if they made a case for themselves in the pros. I'm once again joined by Evan Sharrard, Kyler Maira, and Nandan Nair. Now, Evan, who on the men's side really improved their draft stock?
I really would go and say Mark Sears from Alabama, who I don't think is going to be getting enough talk. And while he might not have risen into the lottery, this guy is a tough player who not only is he tough, but shows up in the big moments. I mean, he hit 7 threes in the Elite Eight, scored 20 points or more in 4 of the 5 games they played in the tournament. And the only time he didn't was in the Sweet 16, and they won that game.
They did.
Yeah, they lost to UConn, but who didn't lose to UConn this year?
Nobody.
They led by 5 at one point against them, too.
And it was the biggest threat UConn had all tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah, besides Purdue in part of the first half when Zach Edey was unstoppable.
It was not.
Mark
But
Sears.
there was no.
Yeah.
Mike, here's where I push back.
Yeah.
Why take Mark Sears when you could take a guy like Cam Jones instead?
Well, because Mark Sears is going to, you know that Mark Sears is a veteran player. He's going to hit the tougher shots. This guy is fearless when you look at some of these highlights. The threes that he takes, he's ready to go. And a lot of these shots are NBA-like. He can shoot with little time. Now, not that one, but there's one where he's going to come right off the ball, right here. You're going to watch him swing the ball to 23, and then right there, that is an NBA look, and the step back that he has is really strong.
And his jump shot is actually beautiful.
Yes, he has a fantastic shot. He's great off the dribble. He's great with the ball in his hands. He moves well, and he plays in the most efficient system in the country under Nate Oates. This guy really knows how to play analytical basketball, and he's been doing it for 2 years under Nate Oates.
So you're going to say that Mark Sears goes from a guy who is maybe a late second rounder to a first round
I'd say,
surefire.
a late first round, early second round if they really don't like the fact that he's a 22-year-old. But
yeah,
I think a team has to take him in the first round. Yeah.
I like it, Evan.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to move over and we're going to talk about a different kind of player.
Yep, and the UConn fan in me does want to take so many of those guys, Donovan Clingan, Stephon Castle, all of them. But I'm going to go with the one man who basically willed Tennessee into the Elite Eight.
I feel like I have a feeling.
I am going to go with Dalton Connect.
How'd I know?
This guy is ridiculous. As I said, he willed Tennessee there on his own. In the Elite Eight, he dropped 37 against Purdue. The next highest points, 9. He did that on his own. He's been ridiculous this year. He dropped 25.5 points a game in the SEC, finishing as Player of the Year. He had multiple 30, 40-point games against UNC, Auburn, Kentucky.
And those were tournament teams.
Those were tournament teams. Very good teams, quality teams. Yeah. He's really good against that. He is, he's really good at spacing the floor. He's really good at taking a handoff and driving to the basket. Yeah. You saw him against Zach Edey all game. He was fearless. And I just really like the like of him. I think he's really broken out this tournament. And I think he has turned himself into a lottery pick. I mean, look at these. He hit 7 different threes, I believe, in the Sweet 16. He is just automatic on the pick and shoot.
No, see, again, my concern is Evan brought it up with Mark Sears, is Dalton Connect is already 23. That's older than a guy like Anthony Edwards, who is one of the best players in the NBA already.
That's true. But for that reason, I actually really like him. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think if he goes at number 8 to the Utah Jazz, I think that's a very, very interesting pick for them. Simply because they already have a bit of an experienced backcourt. They're trying to get in more people. Taylor Hendricks, Walter Kessler, Rookie of the Year candidate. I think with him, he brings some depth at the wing, which they've been desperately needing.
He gives me very Wally Szczerbiak vibes, though. I feel like
I'd say Klay
Wow.
Klay Thompson is a great comp, too.
Yep.
I don't think Wally Szczerbiak and Klay Thompson are all that different, just Klay Thompson's 10 times better. Kyler, we're going to go to you. Who do you have on the men's side of the bracket rising?
I have the most marketable player in all of college basketball, and that's Jared McCain. And look, you've seen him dropping 30 points twice in the tournament. You've seen him on your TikTok feed. He is a freshman at Duke who, the age, not a problem. The performances, not a problem. He has risen from, he was a great player, mid-first rounder. He is a guaranteed lottery pick because of his performance in March Madness.
I agree, but you're going to have to sell him to me. I mean, why get a guy like Jared McCain when you can have a Rob Dillingham?
You can, but Jared McCain has, first off, that bounce that you don't see from Rob Dillingham. And he has the marketability to bring in money for a team in jersey sales. He has the talent to, as a young player, put up big numbers against big teams, catch, release, shoot threes. He's such a good player that is so raw and can easily be a household name in just a couple of years.
Yeah, but are you worried about how raw he is? I feel like both Evan and Nandan are a little concerned about that.
A little bit. I'm not worried. I think I saw him play his game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Go to class, on Monday.
He did.
He is dedicated to his education, both in school and on the basketball court.
And that's why he's declaring for the NBA draft after being a freshman.
He's 3 days into college.
Who
and
says
he's dunking
that
on
famous
your team.
quote? I don't go to school to play class. I don't go to school. Who said that? It was a famous college football player. I don't go to school to play class.
Say that, Jared McCain.
Jared McCain, because he was at class on Monday.
Exactly, he was.
And you know, Duke's a tough school.
It's very hard.
It is.
Yeah, Duke's a tough school. I mean,
if he stays in college, good for him. He's going to make the most NIL deal out of any college.
He just got a nail polish NIL deal, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah.
As he should.
But again, I feel like you're a little skeptical right now.
Jared McCain, I do think is a lottery pick. I think that just because of his age, when he came in as a prospect, he's had years of playing basketball on the high school level that I think teams probably really like. Whether you think that players should have to play in college before they go to the NBA is another question. This is a guy that probably would have been drafted out of high school. He does have the size. That's the one thing that I'd give him over Rob Dillingham, because Dillingham definitely has the bounce.
I do have to agree. So we've gone with our men's side of the bracket. Let's switch it up to the women's side of the bracket, which I think is arguably more interesting. You're going to go first.
Yeah, it's Azia James, who just is not talked about enough. I think because of, how generational a star. Generational is not even really the right word. Maybe once in a millennium, you get a player that's this good. Caitlin Clark has changed basketball.
For the better.
Absolutely. And you pair her with then the Camila Cardosos and the Paige Beckers.
And don't forget the womanimal.
Yes, I was
Cameron Brink.
Yes, Cameron Brink as well. Azia James is an excellent shooter who hit 7 threes, just like Mark Sears did in the Elite Eight. She did the same thing in the Elite Eight. She's a great shooter. In basketball, the most efficient shot is the three-point shot in the corner.
Is the modern-day NBA and modern-day WNBA?
Yes, and she has the best shot that I have seen outside of the obvious Caitlin Clark. And she catch and shoot, absolutely. She actually reminds me a lot of Mark Sears. They remind me of each other because there is one.
May they be related?
Yeah, probably not, but maybe. But a lot of these shots, she doesn't just hit open shots. Here's a pull-up right in the face. That's a tough shot to hit. She's a big game player. She's a junior, going to be a senior. She has a year of eligibility left if she wants it, but absolutely after this tournament, leading a 3-seed NC State past some really tough teams.
Like a team like Texas
beating
right now.
Texas, yes. She's shown that she's a big game player that absolutely should rise in draft stock.
All right, so you've made your case. Now you have your case to make. I'm very interested in this one.
Yep. I'm going to take someone who is at the center, literally, of one of the greatest women's college basketball seasons ever. I am going with Camila Cardoso. And I say this, you might ask, well, Nandan, they went undefeated. What's there for her to do? A great team. I'll tell you, last year, she was backup to #1 pick Aaliyah Boston and didn't play too much. And so she came into the season, there wasn't much on her. She was kind of just a backup. But this season, she came in as the starter, and she was dominant. In March, she shot 17 points per game as a center, mind you.
We all watched the national championship game.
Even more dominant, potentially, than Aaliyah Boston.
I know, my parents are watching. They said, wow, Camila Cardoso is scary.
6'7", she's commanding at the rings. She knows how to run the field. She is incredible. In fact, in this season, she was shooting 58%. In March, 68%. Wow. She turned it up. She knows.
That's ridiculous.
Going up 10% in the tournament, that is crazy. Look at this. She runs her way to the rim. She's dominant in the paint.
That's a tough
rebound to make. And so I think she's gone up so much. I think she's a lottery pick. I could see her playing with Cameron Brink next year because I believe the Sparks own both the #2 and 4 pick because of a trade.
Wow.
And
what a front court.
That is 2 of the best rim protectors in the league.
Yeah, because Cameron Brink is expected to go second overall behind Caitlin Clark.
She is. And look at that. The game winner against Tennessee to keep them unbeaten.
Her first three.
Her first three.
In her entire career.
I told you. She is clutch.
Yeah. I think, wow. You've really enticed me with the idea of Cameron Brink and Camila
It's time to
Cardoso.
watch some LA basketball. It's Showtime in LA.
It is. It'd be like it's the Showtime Lakers all over.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're going to stay away from the Showtime Lakers because it's scaring me as a New York Liberty fan. We're going to go to Kyler with an interesting pick.
Yeah, someone who wasn't touted as a generational player, but is someone who, because of March Madness, will maybe have more than that one shining
Well,
moment.
please tell me.
It's Nika Mule.
It's Nika Mule.
Nika Mule, during March Madness, has scored 7 points, 0 points, 3 points, 8 points, and 9 points. That is not a lot. That being said, she led the team in assists in every game but one in which she was second. She has been fantastic defensively. She shut down Caitlin Clark better than anyone did the whole
Only
tournament.
7 points in the half.
Exactly. And she went from being someone who was like maybe a late round selection to someone who could be in the first round, maybe the second round. She has been dominant defensively, an all-time playmaker.
Yes.
Those assists are not just any assists. These assists are fantastic finds. Nika Mule is someone that I would worry about if I was playing against Nika.
And she played a great second to Paige Beckers there at UConn.
Exactly. And let's be honest, Paige Beckers is the better player.
Yeah.
But Nika Mule maybe is even the person who had the biggest draft
Impact.
stock ring.
No, yes.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, you want to talk.
Oh, yeah. I mean, is there much higher that Paige Beckers could really go?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Paige Beckers maybe went from 5 to 2.
Well, I think you can make
Nika
the argument.
Mule jumped hundreds of spots.
I'm not saying that's wrong, but I also will say you could make the argument that after tearing her ACL, people question if she'd be the same animal.
Well,
And
and
so
her shooting has improved. It was really questionable her first couple years. Now as a senior, I think it's a great decision for her not to stay in college, and she has declared for the WNBA draft. I think that it was a great move by her, and just because of this tournament, has really shot up her stock.
So you don't think that averaging only just under 7 points per game is not, you think that's not going to put off?
That's not her game, you know? She's the playmaker, you know? You don't get concerned when De Bruyne doesn't score a lot of goals because he's playmaking, you know?
If you could give her a pro comp, who would you give her?
In the NBA, Steve Nash.
Steve Nash.
Steve Nash.
That is a high,
like
high
that.
bit of praise.
that's a high ceiling.
Exactly, but it's a gritty player who does the little things right. Not necessarily the best shooter. Steve Nash was a good shooter. Let's not take that away from him. But Nika Mule is a player that's raised because of her grittiness, her team playing abilities, and her tournament.
Well, I hope Nika Mule is not as bad of a coach as Steve Nash was. But regardless, thank you guys for that. I feel like I could be a general manager now with the amount of knowledge you dropped on me. It actually was like, I feel like I should be making the picks now. But regardless, we are going to head to another commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about a post-LeBron NBA.
And when I arrive at my destination, I am gonna kill Bill.
What? Oh! Okay, cutting. Sorry, can we get some of this right?
Where in God's name is the gaffer's tape? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nate.
And I'm Casey, and we're the National Broadcasting Society.
Come out to some of our weekly workshops or work on some of our sets.
Explore the bigger picture with NBS.
We'll see you there.
All right, let's get another take. Camera, sound.
Hi, I'm Mary Malloy, the host of Speechless, and you're watching the Emerson Channel.
Alright, coming back in 10 seconds. Ready, camera one. Camera one, get a wide shot of the entire thing, and in 3, 2, 1, take. Tell them cue.
Welcome back to Emerson College. Emerson
Camera
trails
4, get a shot of the players
10
coming across the
points.
court.
10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point. As
Camera
the team
2 close on the
finishes
person
their
shooting.
timeout. Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away and score this big one.
Camera 1, get a close and follow them over.
Emerson trails WPI 10 points. 10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point as the team finishes their timeout.
Camera 1, close up on number 33.
Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away.
Follow the ball, follow the ball.
Welcome back, everyone. I am still Noah Berkowitz, and this is still the box score. Now, with rumors continuing to swirl and LeBron himself saying that retirement will be coming sooner rather than later, the question gets raised, who will become the face of the NBA? Well, good news for you all at home is I am joined by a panel of our newcomer, Briggs Loveland, Danielle DuBois, and Nandan Nair, here to give us their opinion on who the new league leader will be. Danielle, you have the floor.
Okay, so when I was thinking about leaders of the NBA, my brain was thinking, and I came to the conclusion of Jason Tatum. Wow. Now that might not have been.
Take.
I like
yes,
that.
It is a hot
I like
take.
that one.
But when you look at the Celtics team as a whole and Jason Tatum, it would start to make a little bit of sense because of the leader that Jason Tatum is on this Celtics team. Now also, I would like to add in his growth specifically this season compared to last season. I know last season he was one of the floppers in the NBA and would basically, everybody else would be on the other side of the court and he'd still be wanting a call from something that happened 30 seconds ago.
20 seconds ago.
And that was something that I was like, you know, you are not a leader in the NBA if you are whining about a call that is happened a long time ago. However, this season, you can see the change in his mentality, and he seems like a different human being. And I think part of that is because of Derek White stepping up, but also just some of the changes made in this team in the offseason that I think really propelled the Celtics forward, and it helps Jason Tatum's mentality overall.
But are you maybe a little worried that, like, maybe he's not even the biggest personality on his own team? How is he supposed to be the face of the NBA?
I think he is the biggest personality on his team. It is hard when you have players such as Porzingis and Derek White and JB. It is a really stacked team when you start to think of it that way. However, he carries himself like he is the leader of that team, and he is. You can tell based off of the way he is in interviews and just walking around his teammates. His teammates speak so highly of him, and I think that speaks to the leadership quality he has in order to be that face of the NBA.
The one thing I will note on JT, though, because as a Celtics fan myself, the biggest thing I need from him is to remember he is 6'8". He does not need to shoot 23s a game. Please drive to the paint. But I agree with that. I think he has potential, but the question is, he needs a ring to do that, and will he do it? We'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, do you think he's a big enough star? I mean, like, you think of other guys around the NBA who have that notoriety, who are big personalities, who talk, are in the press a lot. I mean, you think about LeBron, you're always hearing news about LeBron. Are you always hearing about a Jason Tatum?
You aren't always hearing about Jason Tatum, so I do understand that.
You do hear a lot about Deuce Tatum.
And
I love Deuce
Tatum.
Tatum.
I mean, I don't.
Yep.
But also,
Yeah,
you hear a lot about his his friendship and his duo with JB, and I think that's also part of it. You're always hearing about them, and even when JB was shooting in the NBA skills competition, we've had many conversations about that, and I won't bring that back up. But who was there beside him? Jason Tatum. He was a part of that with him, and I think that just goes to show not only how much of a leader he is on the team, but how much of a personality he is. He needs to be there, you know?
Okay. Well, I'm going to take your word for it. We're going to move on to Briggs. Who are you going to talk about? Who do you think is going to be the next face?
I think you make a good case for Tatum, but I'm going with Luka Doncic.
I like it.
I really like Luka Doncic.
I love it.
This guy has dominated the NBA since he showed up his rookie year. He has averaged 27 points per game. In his last 5 years he's been playing. Right now he's leading the league in scoring.
Yeah.
Averaging close to a double-double, something like
almost
30.
a triple-double.
Almost a triple-double.
You can't do him dirty like that.
That's my fault. I got to be better at that. It's 33, 9, and 8. I mean, this guy is dominating the game right now from an offensive standpoint. When you look at everything he does, shot creating, passing ability, his vision, able to pick apart defenses with both his vision and his skill set shooting-wise, he is dominating the NBA right now. And it's a clear cut why he should be an MVP frontrunner. And he's dominating in a different way than guys like LeBron James did, guys like Michael Jordan did when they were the face of the NBA. And in correlation to that, must-see TV. I mean, you turn on the TV for a Dallas Mavericks game, who you're watching? You're watching Luka Doncic. If he's
the
not
only
on the bench,
person you're watching.
I'm going to the fridge, I'm getting a soda, and then I'm asking my brother, yo, when's Luka Doncic coming back to the court? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I don't want to watch anybody else other than Luka Doncic on this Dallas Mavericks.
I know. Did you see that one play the other night? He scooped it up. It was right next to the three-point line.
I feel like I've seen that 5-6 times.
Yeah.
From him.
He's
This
marketable.
season.
Yeah, he
Absolutely.
is.
He's absolutely marketable. And I want to add to that marketability from the global aspect.
Yes, I was about to ask.
This guy is the face of the NBA in half of the other side of the world. You look at him. He was a pro at 16 years old. He's the youngest EuroLeague MVP at 18 years old. When you go to Europe, he's the face of the NBA. It's clear cut. Now, when LeBron leaves, who's going to slide into that role easily is Luka Doncic because he's already the face of the NBA. Half of the world already sees this guy as God himself, basically. I mean, that global aspect comes into play. Maybe not God himself, that's my fault. But he is the face of the NBA on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And then with that, he is very personable. I think he's one of the more underrated personalities in the NBA. I'm sorry, he is the only guy in the NBA I've seen that makes Nikola Jokic actually like basketball. I mean, you saw how
We
he
saw
acted
the
with-
All-Star
You
game.
saw him in the
Yep.
All-Star game. You
Yep.
saw the way the two interacted, maybe a little tampering. We won't get that deep, but I mean, he actually enjoyed playing basketball for once. You know why? Because of Luka Doncic.
I've never seen
And
Jokic smile
I've
like
used
that.
that Devin Booker meme when he's looking at Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to act tough when they're up. That's like one of my favorite videos to use. I mean, he is so personable in the NBA.
Well, and the good thing is he has that rivalry with Devin Booker. I mean, it's important to have a rivalry like that.
Oh, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, everybody else in the league. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah,
And that's another fantastic rivalry in the West.
And I appreciate all the points that you hit on. We're going to have to move on to Nandan now. I want to hear what you have to say.
Of course, and I'm going to go with one of the few players right now to be touted to potentially be MJ's son, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
And
it's
so
not Jimmy Butler.
It's
is
not
it?
Jimmy Butler. It's going to be Killian Hayes. No, I kid. I kid. It's going to be Anthony Edwards.
I love it.
And I say this
Ant-Man.
because yes, it is his second year in the league, but in his second year, he has exploded. He is probably the singular reason why the Timberwolves are tied first in the West right now and why they look like a genuine contender. He's averaged, last year the top thoughts were all, but oh, well, he's a streaky shooter, he tries to go for flashiness, but he's like turned it up this year. This year, he's gone from shooting about 33% from three to over almost 40% from three, which is ridiculous.
That's an insane clip.
Insane turnout in 1 year. And then, I mean, you look at the marketability, you look at this guy. I mean, the skills he has right now, that's an insane
I hate to make the
putback.
comparison, but it reminds me of a certain Kobe Bean Bryant.
Ooh, I mean, I see. I mean, look at this. Look at this one right here. Is he picks the ball, he grabs it out of nowhere and hits the shot. How do you do this? I mean, overall, the marketability to him, the aura to him.
I mean, he was in a
watch
movie
this.
with Adam
Watch
Sandler.
this.
Oh my God.
Watch this. Like, he's just the dunk highlights.
Look at that bounce.
We've seen. Look, that is
Gabe
disrespectful.
Vincent, watch
That
out.
is disrespectful. Like, that's what I'm saying. He is such a marketable personality. In fact, in 2022, look at that. I mean, throws it up to himself, and then I mean,
Oh no!
what do you have to say to that?
It's pretty.
Like,
Top.
there goes that man. I mean,
I think this is a hard argument to make against you. I can't.
I
lie.
mean, and that's what I'm saying. Is I think overall he has the marketability, the aura, the skills, and he even has the drive. He said in an interview, I think in 2022, that he wants to be the face of the league.
Yeah.
And by 2027, which is when he said, he's going to be, I think, 25, 26. That's his prime.
He's very young. He's younger than Dalton Connect.
Exactly.
Here's my one thing. Minnesota, very small market. How do we think that a Minnesota Timberwolf will become the face of the NBA?
Well, I think the funny thing about that, you can make the case for, I feel like you can make the case for the Mavericks in that case as well, because yes, they do have Kyrie, but besides that, I mean, they're not a very huge market team, I would argue. I think they're kind of similar in that aspect. At least personally, I don't think they're a huge market.
I mean, you can make the argument like in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL and they're from Kansas City.
Exactly.
You don't have a New York.
And so I don't know if necessarily the place itself matters, but more so what they achieve. I think in the next 2 years, I think in the next 3 years, I'd say, they need to win at least one championship maybe, and at least make it to a couple Western Conference Finals. But I think it really is dependent on how he carries himself.
Do you think he may jump ship potentially? Go to a team like the Lakers, like the Knicks, like a big market team? I mean, you look at
wouldn't be mad.
I mean, you look at a LeBron, he left Cleveland for Miami.
That's true.
Like Kobe was always in Los Angeles. Michael Jordan was always in Chicago. These are big market cities.
That is true.
I mean, is Minneapolis really going to be the place?
That's a good point.
I mean, and a lot of that I think depends on his teammates. You look at a Karl Anthony Towns or a Rudy Gobert. Are they going to surround him? What do you think?
That's my thing. I think at the end of the day, it is going to come down to that. I think over there, it's going to come down to, can Minnesota give him the talent he needs to perform? And if not, I could see him jumping ship. I could see him going to say, maybe going to LA. Maybe LeBron leaves and he's the one that comes in to replace him. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I think it ultimately comes down to, can he perform? Does he have the people around him? And I think he will 5 years down the line.
All right, well, guys, the future of the NBA seems to be in good hands. I'm gonna have to disagree with a lot of you though, and give it to a little guy named Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if you heard of him. But before we head to a commercial break, we're gonna swing the rock to our field correspondent Everest Leach, who's at Fenway Park.
What's up, Box Score? Baseball season is well underway, and we are down here with our lovely field team at the historic Fenway Park. We're going to be catching up with some Red Sox fans, asking them some questions, some fun ones, some trivia, different stuff like that. It's going to be a blast. Hope you enjoy the content. Yeah. Do you think if you played an entire season of MLB baseball, you could hit one double?
Hell no.
No? He's not confident. Hey, one double? You don't think you get one?
No.
I have some pictures of Red Sox players. I want you to tell me what you think they would be if they weren't baseball players. Is that cool?
Sure.
I'm going to show you guys Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox. What do you think this guy would be if he wasn't playing baseball?
A limo driver.
Limo driver. Limo driver, I like that.
It's the black collar. It's the black collar.
The black collar, I love it. Here we've got their pitcher, Brian Bayo. What do you think?
That's probably a housewife.
Do you guys have any favorite Red Sox players, stuff like that?
David Ortiz.
David Ortiz, Big Papi, come on.
Hi, I'm Frank Burke from San Francisco, California. Yep, I caught the walk-off home run that sent the Giants to the World Series in 2014.
That's incredible.
Travis Ishikawa hit a walk-off home run in the 5th game of National League Championship Series, and I caught it. And in exchange for that, the Giants let me throw out the first pitch at the World Series, Game 3 in San Francisco in 2014.
All right, this has been Everest Leach, speaking on behalf of our entire field team, including my partner in crime, Briggs, who couldn't be here today, but is killing it in studio right now. It's been an incredible season. So much love, so much joy. Just honored to be a part of. Signing off from Fenway.
There we go.
All right, coming back in 10 seconds. Ready, camera 1. Camera 1, get a wide shot of the entire thing, and in 3, 2, 1, take it. Talent cue.
Welcome back to Emerson College. Emerson
Camera
trails
4, get a shot of the players coming across the court.
10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point. As
Camera 2 close upon the person
finishes
shooting.
their timeout. Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away and score this big one.
Camera 1, get a close up, follow them over.
Emerson trails WPI by 10 points. 10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point as the team finishes their timeout.
Camera 1, close up on number 33.
Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away.
Follow the ball, follow the ball.
Welcome back. Now, here at the Box Score, I feel like we've started a little end-of-season tradition where we play some hot takes that have aged potentially poorly, that our very own talent said. Now, I'm going to let the videos speak for themselves, but brace yourselves, this may get ugly.
But if a first overall pick is going to boom, that means that they are going to be remembered as one of the best picks in the history of first overall picks. And I do think that that's what's going to happen with Caleb Williams. Wow.
Now,
I'm glad it's not Kentucky.
That was recent.
That's actually it.
It was very recent. Now, I'm not going to say that we know what Caleb Williams is going to be yet, but that is a hot take, saying that he's going to boom, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks of all time. That's a bold prediction. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time is a crazy prediction.
It's not going to happen when Tom Brady exists. I'm just saying that.
I don't say the best.
One of the greatest.
But based on what could happen, I think it's the odds are not in my favor.
No, not one bit.
But that's not how things work. That's like you can say those are the you can say that those are the odds, but that's not including the situation and including the person. Because does Caleb Williams know the odds of him going to the Hall of Fame or the odds of him being better than Tom Brady? Did Tom Brady? What were the odds that Tom Brady was going to be?
Very low.
Very low.
Very low.
That's
If Tom Brady can be the GOAT, so can Joe Milton.
That's right. But this is Caleb Williams. I stand by it.
You're going to stick with it?
I do, because I think that as my biggest thing is how do they process the game?
Yeah.
In some of those highlights we saw earlier, that one of those reads, he got off of his first 2 reads in under a second.
Yeah.
That's really good at the college level. He extends plays at an elite level. If his weakness is that he's always looking for the big play and he needs to just figure out how to make the best throw,
that's a coaching thing.
That's a coaching thing, and you can coach that. He just needs a great offensive line in front of him, and he can do that.
Well, we will see. The NFL draft coming up later this month. Yeah. Nandan, I think that you're the next on the chopping block. Let's go.
Let's call Purdue frauds.
Dude, we're about to find out.
They are a very,
How far do you have them?
Personally, I think they beat St. Mary's. After that, I could see them making a run to this Elite Eight, honestly.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, because if they
bold takes here.
If they get out,
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Listen, first of all, I want to point out that Danielle goes, there are some bold takes here, as you said it.
It was bold.
Secondly, I'd also like to point out that you could have saved yourself all the trouble when you said that they were going to the Sweet 16 and then mid-word said the Elite Eight.
Well, okay, because I say that, honestly, I'm going to put it right now. I stand by that take. Simply because I do stand by
They
it.
didn't.
No, as in, I stand by the fact that I still, like, in the moment, if I had to go back and make that take again, I would make that take again. Because honestly, as I said, I told you that they would beat St. Mary's, and they did. And after that,
Yes,
I
they
said
did.
it is open.
And I did say that St. Mary's was going to kill them, and they got killed.
Exactly. And so at the same time, I didn't expect Alabama to be as good as they were. I did not expect that Mark Sears would be ridiculous and automatic from three. And honestly, that's okay with me. I can honestly live with that. I think GCU had a great record-breaking season. They were a fun team to watch. And I genuinely don't have any regrets on that.
And I don't want you to escape here. Every single underdog take hit, except for Noah Berkowitz's Colgate. Do you stick with that?
I've got a video. we don't need to keep focusing on it. But before we focus on me, we're gonna drag you down with us. Let's look at Kyler's.
Kyler, why will City's reign come to an end? Why are they not going to do it this year?
City's reign will come to an end because of one man named Erling Haaland, who has been horrible and has been the reason why City are struggling.
He had a hat-trick today.
Thank goodness, because he had 5 goals today, and Pep Guardiola is going to see that, and he's going to keep playing him every game, despite him being cancerous for City this season. He's scored 17 goals. That's great, right? That's most in the league. 12 of those 17 have come against bottom 10 teams. He has been vacant in the big games. He has been a ghost. He only has 5 assists on the whole year despite being in the perfect positions. His XG is way higher than his actual output. He has been killing the team, and yet City fans, soccer fans love Haaland. He's been horrible.
You're reaching, Kyler.
Oh my God. Okay.
And look, he played against Liverpool, did nothing. He played against Arsenal, did nothing. He's been getting benched now. This is one of the best takes that I've had ever on the box.
Before we get and divulge into this title race, I'd like to let you know that City are still hot on the track.
Also, I also
said
want
that City would not win.
I also
because
want to
of
add,
Erling Haaland.
That's the
City
problem.
have the easiest run-in to this season. Right now, Liverpool have a pretty tough schedule. Arsenal still have most of the big 6 to go through.
They do.
City, no one. And
And if City aren't going to win, it's going to be because of Erling Haaland. He's been terrible.
So do you think they're going to lose to Bournemouth away? Like,
no, I don't think they're going to lose to Bournemouth away. I'm not
I love that we
There
put
is
these
no-
two next to each
Look,
other. This is a great decision.
I'm a Man City hater above all else, but I'm sorry, I see almost no way that they don't win this league.
Well, they're
with
in
how
3rd place out of the
2
top
points
3.
off.
1
with
point
the
off,
easiest
actually.
8
But
They're 1 point back.
They're 1 point back.
1 point, mind you.
And Erling Haaland is
And
still
Liverpool
playing
just
some
dropped
games.
points
and
to
he's still-
United.
Yeah.
Phil Foden is in
City's
incredible
still gotta play
form.
big
Bernardo
games.
Silva, incredible form.
Exactly.
Kevin De Bruyne, incredible
Erling
form.
Haaland.
It is awesome.
Guys,
I feel like
you know
we're running the segment.
You know it's bad when I'm defending City. I never.
Trust me, no one likes
fair
Man
point.
City
Like-
except for the Glory Hunters. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to take a look at a hot take of mine. But it doesn't matter because all my takes are always right. Obviously, that's why I'm here.
That's why the Nets are going to go to the conference finals.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's listen to mine. If we know something about Mays, I'm going to make a hot take. And that's Nick Claxton. If that's the camera we're looking at, that camera, one of these cameras, Nick Claxton, Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Claxton. Not an awful take.
Oh my
It did
God.
not matter what camera you were looking at, it wasn't.
It was not a hot take.
No, listen. It was a hot take. It wasn't an awful take. I still think he'll get nominated. I do.
Nominated.
I think we all know
It's the next face of the NBA.
it's the next face of the NBA, which I think we all should be agreeing with, except for the people who were on that block, obviously, because we all obviously
And
believe.
it is tough for you because the way that segment worked was that you had to defend them whether you believed it or not.
Yes.
You just went above and beyond by saying that crazy statement.
That is true.
No. Nick Claxton, I feel like getting nominated for one of the big awards is also almost as good as winning it.
Okay, that's not true.
Well, the Orioles, they were in the
not
playoff
true.
hunt to
What?
win the
History is
championship.
written,
So,
history is written by the winners, and if Wembanyama, who I
team
believe
in
is
the
probably a very nice guy,
Being a
is
team
the
is a
winner,
trophy.
he will write in the history books that Nick Claxton came in
Do you
second.
remember when Steve Nash won MVP?
Yes.
Is that how his MVP is remembered by Lakers fans?
Yeah, by Lakers fans, who are the most insufferable fans in all of the NBA behind the Knicks. No one likes the Lakers except for the Lakers.
Well, Shaq and Kobe don't think it was Steve Nash's MVP either.
No, but you know what? It was. I'll say it here. It was Steve Nash's MVP.
Oh my God.
Are we
It was
debating
Steve
Steve
Nash's
Nash
MVP.
or are we debating Nick Claxton, though? Like, let's
Let's
get back
Nandan, that's great. He's
Why
trying
are
to get
we-
out of it. You're right. There is nothing
trying to stick it
wrong.
out of this here.
There is nothing wrong with being a passionate Nets fan. But regardless, that is all the time we have. Thank you all so much. Now, before we sign off for the final time this semester, we do have some farewells. We'll be saying goodbye to two of our experts, Jackson Tolliver and Mackenzie Bruno. So can we get a round of applause? Thank you. On top of that, we will be saying goodbye to our logistics EP, Gabby Hughes. Thank you for everything you do, you continue to do, and thank you for most of all for being my friend. And finally, I'd like to thank my parents, my grandparents, and everyone in and out of studio who makes the box score what it is. Without all of you, we would not have a place to talk about the thing we love so much, which is sports. Thank you for watching season 17 of The Box Score. I am your host, Noah Berkowitz. Follow us on Instagram at EIV Box Score to stay up to date with some surprises for what may be coming next season. Good night.